I think it goes without saying that, the tone of me in recent days has not really been like the exact same as it used to be. Um, I think it really is something where honestly I've been doing like tons of reflecting, dude. I mean, like absolute tons of reflecting. And it's like, it's really hard, to say the least, because like I've been going through like so much things, so much like mental, like hardships at this point, and just so much like physical now stress and all that. We're to the point where it's just like now I just genuinely do not know like how to like feel at times, like I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like sometimes like things have gotten like worse and stuff like that. Like sometimes I feel like just absolutely like bawling my eyes out and just absolutely just wishing, not gonna lie, sometimes wishing I was dead. It's a lot. It really is like quite a bit. And I've been trying to handle this stuff for such a long time, to the point where it's just like I started thinking about it like, where did everything like kind of just like start happening to me? Like when did like I truly start to feel like this? And it's like it's one of those things where like I think about it and I think about it and I go, was this the cause? Was this it? Was this when I kind of started like spiraling down like this path? And it's like, no, but then it's just like I keep thinking over and over and over again. And it's like it sucks. Like it's really painful because like when I was like a young kid, right? Like I remember back in the day when my parents used to fight a lot, and I mean like a lot, to the point where like you would just hear the yelling, like just even if you're on like the top of like in your own room, you would still hear her yelling and fighting and stuff like that. And I remember back then like always being like stressed out when I was a kid, right? Like always being like super upset, with myself, because I would absolutely hate who I was. I absolutely hated like the way that things were like back then. And I hated like how much like my parents would fight. Like it reached a point where like physically like I constantly became like super stressed, to the point where it's just like I would just shut down like completely. Like I would just try to like at best like hide the way I truly felt when I was younger, just to show like, oh, I'm still like your happy little, like kid and stuff like that. But in actuality, I was just constantly in like just like anguish, right? Like I remember like back then, um when I was like in middle school and stuff like that, I would always kind of be like super hard on myself. Like throughout middle school, like elementary, high school, all that stuff, I would be like super hard on myself, to the point where it's just like I've had like days where like if I did like a bad performance and stuff like that, like my grades weren't up to par and stuff like that, like I felt like a complete fucking failure. Like I completely felt like, I don't deserve to be like happy or anything like that. Like I failed, like it always hit me so hard and stuff like that. And I remember like just how depressed like I used to be even back then, and now even now where I just feel like honestly probably worse now. But I remember like I would just always be like so upset with myself, just so hard on myself. Like I absolutely like fucking hated who I was like back then in particular. Like I just hated myself like a lot, like a crap ton. And it was always like super rough for me because like everything I felt like I did wrong, it was like, okay, it's my fault. Like I failed. And not only that, it's like sometimes like I always told myself, because my dad is a very strong person, so like he never ever like shows his feelings, and every time I sometimes did try to talk to him about the way I feel, he's like, just toughen up, just toughen up, like suck it up, the world's gonna be cruel to you and stuff like that. And every time he would say that to me, like I feel like I could never get like a proper conversation with him, right? Like I feel like I never got to like properly express my emotions and stuff like that. If anything, he made me feel like 10 times worse, because of the fact that I just never got to like truly like speak about like the way I felt, like the way how terrible sometimes like I would feel. Like I would just sometimes be on like the verge of just like crying and stuff like that. And it's just sometimes I feel like, you know what, nah, they're like, why should I cry? Like, right? Like, why should I cry? You don't deserve to be sad. Your dad says you have all these things with you. You shouldn't be sad. You don't deserve to be sad. If you're sad, you're just an ungrateful piece of shit. And that's like what I always like told myself. Like that's like why I always kind of, I would say, like hid my emotions like so much. And I remember every time like I would try to like think and just like try to like manage them, like it would always just come back, and I would just always be like so fucking sad. Like it just like it hurt, right? Because like I was just like feeling like all these things to the point where it's just like I really wished I was like I could die like right then and there. Like part of me really really wanted to just like not be alive anymore, because of just how much everything just like sucked. Like how much everything like I felt like was just eating at me and stuff like that, holding in like all these emotions and stuff, to the point where it's just like, like sometimes I would just be like pretend to be cheerful like around my family, but like and stuff like that. But then like deep down I would just feel like absolute dog water, like absolute trash. Like I remember back when I went in like college, like my mom was like super super concerned with me, because like I'm gonna be honest with you, and I don't care if this gets to like video age restricted and stuff like that. Like I thought about suicide. Like I genuinely was considering like taking my own life when I went to college, like physically. It was like so hard on me to a point where it's like I was like really really close to just like flat out like overdosing. And I'm just like trying to take my own life. Like I remember like my parents called the police on me when I was playing with my friends and stuff like that. And like I tried to play it off and stuff like that, but the truth is though is that like the reason why she called is because she was just massively concerned about me. Because she knew like I was very very like on edge, to the point where like I was most likely like willing to like take my own life, pretty much. I'm not sugarcoating it. And I remember it just was one of those things where it's just like, I kind of realized like, people do care about me, but at the exact same time too, it's like I also realized just how fucking like far gone I've like gotten, because I've had moments in my life where like I've been so stressed, so like upset, right? Like I had moments in my life where like I would be thinking, and like my thoughts would get like super loud, right? And I remember like one time like the thoughts were like going like to my head, like I kept hearing like just like things in my head, like I couldn't stop thinking. And it reached a point where I physically like lashed out and hit something, and I ended up hurting my hand because of it. I remember like there would just be like times where I would just like think, and like the thoughts got just super super loud in my head, and I would always just kind of like lash out at like something, never at my mom or my parents or my brother, just lash out at like something. Like I would hit something out of like pure frustration, because like I just absolutely hated the thoughts that were coming into my head, right? And I remember like part of me would just be like super upset, like it's all your fault, like the way you feel, like you feel this way and stuff like that. Like it's all your fault that you cause like sometimes like all these issues in your like lives and stuff like that. You know, it's like all your fault that you can't like manage your anger and stuff like that. Like I've always like fucking hated myself because I've always hated like sometimes how angry I got, to the point where like I couldn't control like my anger at times, and I would just like scream and lash out. Like, and the thing is that like the anger like I have like is like reminiscent of my dad, because my dad sometimes gets like really angry, to the point where like I remember when I was young, every time like he would try to yell at us, like I would always be so scared and just like be so like upset. And like part of me, like the way and the reason why I hate myself so much is because I have kind of like the same anger my dad has at times, and like I absolutely fucking despise that part of my dad, and that I despise that part of me. I fucking hate myself because of that, you know, because like the thing is that like I don't want to feel like angry, you know. It's like it's one of those things where like I absolutely like hated like myself for like the longest time, and I, part of me, even though I'm working on it, I still kind of hate myself like to this day, because like it's just all these things that keep like wrapping like going around my head, and I'm like, dude, like why is this just like happening to me? Like why do I feel this way? Like why am I so like emotional, you know? Like why? And I would always blame myself for it. And I remember like every time, like even now, like I remember recently, like every time like I would try to talk to my dad about it, like he would just give me like the reason, like okay, if you feel this way, like why are you doing this then? Huh? Like why are you doing this? And he doesn't fucking understand the way I feel sometimes. And it's like it reaches a point where it's just like I don't talk to my dad about my issues, because like he just doesn't understand like the way I feel. Like sometimes like, it reaches a point where it's just like I even question if he's doing it just because he cares, or he does it because like he just doesn't care at all. You know, it's like it's just one of those things where I just feel so like mixed and like hurt and stuff like that. Like it's just times where I just feel like defeated. I feel like fucking like ashamed of myself, you know. And I've always like hated like the person I am and just the way I feel, you know, because like I would always like hide a lot of my like sadness and like things and stuff like that. Like I remember when I talked to my therapist recently, you know, like I started getting emotional, because like the thing is that like I never show my vulnerabilities. I never do. I never like try to like show like, oh, if something's bothering me, I never try to show it. I never try to show it and stuff like that. And I remember one time she asked me like, do you feel like a certain way? Like, do you feel like just alone and stuff like that, like to yourself? And I remember when she asked that, like, I didn't want to say like I felt like lonely or anything like that, because like I try to like tell myself like, no, you don't feel lonely. You definitely don't feel lonely. Why would you feel lonely? You have family and stuff like that. You have friends and stuff like that. But the truth is that like I do. Like I do feel lonely. I remember when I told her that, like I ended up breaking down in tears, because like the thing is that like even though like I may have all these things, I just like deep down just feel like so alone, to the point where it's just painful, dude. Like the loneliness sometimes just eats at me, like to the point where it's just like I honestly just break down in tears a lot. And I remember breaking down crying for like that rest of like the hour. Like I just, it was so like painful for me just to like think about it and just like kind of like show like my vulnerability, because like the thing is that like I said, like my parents, like my mom, my not my mom but my dad, like it always feels like that if I showed like emotion, like that's just a kind of weakness. And that's why like I've always like held it in me, where I just like, you shouldn't show your true emotions at times. But when I did show my emotions that time, it's just like I couldn't take it anymore, bro. Like I really couldn't. Like that, like at that moment, like I just felt so miserable that like I just ended up crying, because like I felt so pathetic, so weak, so like just a lot of these things. It's just like I just ended up crying. And I think just the loneliness sometimes just eats at me so much to where I can't like handle it. Like I really can't. Like, and with like these recent like days too, like I felt like, I'll be honest with you, like I felt like sometimes I just want to like not wake up, right? I just don't want to be alive anymore. Sometimes it just like eats and breaks me sometimes, where it's just like there are days where I just like, not gonna lie, like I stay in like sometimes bed or in my room, and I just like think and just like stay in like my own thoughts and stuff like that, you know. And like I just feel so like alien to myself. Like sometimes like I think of myself like not even human anymore. Like sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, you're just like a basic machine just meant to do like just work, live and die. That's all your life is. Work, live and die. I stopped viewing myself as like a human sometimes, just because it's like, it's one of those things where I'm just like, I'm just something here now just to do mundane tasks and everything like that, and just slowly rot away. And sometimes it's just a lot. It's a lot. I sometimes I really wish like I could just like never feel this stuff. Like sometimes I really wish that I just was like a piece of goop or something like that, just something where just like so insignificant where I don't need to feel any emotions or anything like that. Sometimes like I wish, dude, like I said, like sometimes I wish I was just gone. But like at the exact same time too, it's like I don't want to die, you know. Like I don't want to do that to myself nor to my family and stuff like that. It's just, it's one of those things where it's just like I feel like I'm in like a limbo of like mental anguish at times, you know. Like I feel like sometimes I'm just like so mentally like just like in pain a lot, where to the point where it's just like I question like living, dude. Like I question it. And like recently I've been just trying to like handle like everything like so like differently. Like now that like I've been going to therapy and just been trying to like let the emotions flow, I kind of realized that like I feel so much like sadness, right? Like trying to avoid like triggers and stuff like that, trying to avoid like things that make me sad, and just trying to avoid like a lot of things. But like now that I let my emotions kind of like flow now, it's like I kind of realize like what my problems like I guess kind of are. But at the exact same time too, it's like I still have problems active to this day. Like I feel like sometimes like my dad, for example, he doesn't take me seriously at all. And it reaches a point where like I even question like, is he even a caring father? Because like sometimes I just feel so like, you know, like not listened to. Like he's so strong-headed, but I'm not like the same way he is. And like sometimes I feel like I'm probably like a disappointment because I'm just not as strong as him, like mentally and stuff like that. Like it makes me question like if he sees me as like a joke, like if I'm just like somebody who isn't like significant. And it like it hurts. Like it hurts a lot. Like I sometimes like wish like I just didn't feel this way. Like I really do. And you know, recently with the way I've been feeling, like I've been trying to like achieve like this like kind of like acceptance. It's just hard though. It's really hard to like accept like things that like go on in your life and stuff like that. Sometimes I like just heavily question, you know, like the way I feel. You know, like I just heavily question just everything. And I question like what do I do? Just what do I do? But you know, it's like I kind of realize that even though like things may be like but like shitty as hell, right? Like it's still somewhat worth living for, you know? Even if I feel like sometimes I wish I could never wake up again and stuff like that. I just sometimes I feel like things are so rough that it's just really, really like it just feels like it's not worth living. But I kind of like trying to come to terms with the fact that like I can still do the things I want. I just gotta like figure out like who I want to be, right? Like who I want to like truly be at the end of the day and stuff like that. And trying to like go on this like road of just like acceptance and stuff like that, like trying to like just make myself like, I guess, better, or just like at least manage the way I feel. It's like, it's tough because like it's just like sometimes I just feel sad. I just feel like extremely sad. But at the exact same time too, like sometimes I just feel like I just don't know. I honestly don't know. It's like one of those things where it's just like I'm hoping like with the way the things have been and the way like I've been trying to like manage my things, that eventually like I'll get to a point where it's like even if like the things are like still in me and I still like am struggling, I can at least like accept like who I am, what I'm able to do, and not be so hard on myself. Like at least be proud of like who I am. You know, just like don't be like afraid to like just kind of be yourself, I guess. Like I think like one thing like I kind of realized is that like a lot of like these mental like issues, like I kind of like realize when I'm you know, my friends, like my real life friends, like, you know, like talk to me and stuff like that, you know, like I'm not alone with like feeling like this way. Like my friend, like one of my friends, like I'll probably keep his name anonymous because, you know, privacy sakes. You know, like he told me that like he felt like a lot of things, like a lot of like this and like struggles like I kind of felt. And it's just like it kind of made me realize that like I'm kind of just like not alone in just like the way I feel. And like kind of like knowing that, it's just like for me it's like it really helps out a lot because like it means like even if things get rough, I at least have a lot of people who still care about me. Even if sometimes like I feel like I don't deserve it, at least I know like there's people out there who at least care about me, you know? And I think like that's one thing that like meant a lot to me like that day in particular. Because I felt like I could have spiraled down to something bad to the point where I wouldn't be myself anymore. Like I probably wouldn't be like here anymore pretty much. Like I don't know. But like I feel like if any of you do struggle with like the mental issues, just know there's a lot of people out there for you. It's one of those things where I like the more I think about it, the more I realize that I'm kind of not alone in the way I feel. And I'm just kind of glad that like I'm still here today, despite me feeling absolutely dog shit even now. I'm still somewhat glad that there's people out there who do care. And yeah, that's all I want to say for this video. Um, I hope all of you take a good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.